Hello.
Hi there, good looking.
Kept me waiting, Alice.
So
Oh,
I
that's
take it
this guy
this is take it this is Mr. Handsome himself.
That's the Jabberwock. Also, when he's walking to the right, his texture doesn't like loading.
Oops.
Okay.
But don't worry, after he starts going the other way around, it's sort of okay.
You can only see his true form from one angle, and then the other angle clearly
It's
a
just
sprite that's
the
unfinished.
void. It's just the void. I
Basically,
actually
he's
like
a
that.
ghost.
Let's just use this as an attempt to explain that, like, oh yeah, he's supposed to represent the double-sided nature of guilt. I don't know. Basically, as his voice is really great. I love the voice acting they did for him. I'm ashamed and sad that he does not reappear in the second game.
Actually, you want to know something? That is also Roger Jackson.
Oh yeah, I hear it immediately.
Yeah, he does a great Lee impression.
Misbegotten and unnatural child.
Oh,
Damn, that is pretty good.
The smoke, but you were in dreamland taking tea with your friends. You couldn't be bothered.
He's basically a more malevolent Skunkape right now.
Oh, that's right. He also was Skunkape.
Roasted in an inferno
Who?
of
Roger Jackson.
He's from the third season of Sam and Max.
We'll see him. You'll meet him later.
Gotcha.
And with that, boss. So welcome back, everybody, to American McGee's Alice, and we're confronting our guilt to hopefully obtain, just borrowing his eyes.
We're confronting guilt. Where's Dr. Styles when you need him?
No, not that guilt, not that version of guilt. Which I'm actually surprised, given the nature. I know we have Surgeon Simulator. I'm surprised they haven't made any sort of trauma center for the Switch.
I mean, I'd like to see it myself, but I'm aware that the game is kind of a niche title.
Wasn't it maybe the people who did it? I feel like it was maybe the people who did Apollo Justice.
You know what,
sorry,
Jay?
Ace's Attorney, but I don't know.
It was Atlas. It was Atlas.
Okay.
I was about to say, you say it's a niche title, but then again, you could say the same thing about the Ace Attorney series, and that's getting ported to the Switch.
Honestly, I would say that game. Well, it seemed like that game would have been a niche title at first, but it kind of it's well transcended that by now.
Phoenix Wright is a more recognizable character than Derek Styles, I think.
Well, it's more, Ace Attorney is a far more recognizable franchise than Trauma Center, even though which is a funny coincidence because they came out roughly around the same time.
It should also be noted that Trauma Center only really had that one good game, and then they just re-released it on the Wii. I realize.
You say that though. It's funny you say that though, because I would argue that the Wii version is far better than the original.
Oh, it is. Although I know they kind of skipped some of the post-game stuff, but they do give a lot more story to one of the doctors.
Yeah, they replaced one of the more
Hi-ya!
of it. Oh, thank you,
boy.
Griffin.
The eye. And so the Jabberwock, with his now removed eye, the Griffin clawed out its eye for us.
I'll deal with the Jabberwock.
So
You are our champion.
we are now going to go into Queensland or whatever. We have a little bit of ways to go, but I think it's like Heartland we have to go through first, which has the infamous hedge maze. But with this, the Jabberwock eye staff is complete.
Hooray!
Huzzah!
What does the
Now
sucker
we're-
do?
It's a giant laser bazooka. It's kind of cool. You first charge the weapon, and then so after you charge the weapon, it starts firing a laser beam out. Then once you release the mouse button or whatever button you have assigned to the fire button, once you release that button, then you fire out a massive explosive round at whatever you were targeting.
So it's your basic charge shot.
Yeah. Charge shot if it also had if it had a laser that was constantly firing before the charge shot even went out.
Okay, that's pretty neat.
Freaking gotta get through their card soldiers, but yeah, that's it. We're actually approaching the end game now. This game isn't very long by itself. It was the game is not very long by itself if you're just going straight into it. There aren't a lot of secrets to get. That's just play through the game. But at the time this came out from an indie developer, I think it was pretty interesting. That's the thing. I don't remember a lot of indie games being fully made back in the day, because this was before you had stuff like Steam where you could self-publish very easily and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will, indie games wasn't really so much of a term until after the likes of Cave Story.
Cave Story, Dust and Legion Tale.
I think
definitely
beforehand they went more along the lines of There's a certain term for these kinds of PC games. I just don't know what it is. I don't want to say it's shovelware. That's obviously meant for bad games. I just mean
Yeah.
it's,
Alright, so
it's hard to
let's
explain.
swap to the Jabberwock Eye Staff.
Basically, a similar thing to
And-
what you'd expect from like
Boom!
Commander Keen or like the old Doom series.
But yeah, I agree. So we've now made it to Queen of Heartsland. So welcome to the Hedge Maze.
Ooh,
I hate this level.
dang you.
So-
that sucks because it kind of looks nice.
So yeah, here's the Jabberwock's Eye Staff. Charge a laser, and when I release the laser,
Oh, goodness.
fire out an explosive round at something.
Nice.
Some pretty awesome power to it. This will pretty
You
much
know,
one.
I'm not gonna lie, because she was silent throughout that whole thing, I almost forgot Jordan was still here.
Oh,
How could you forget about me?
Gosh.
But yeah, this Jabberwock laser will pretty much be my go-to weapon if I can handle it. Be warned though that the explosive round that comes out does deal some damage to you. So, like that's why I'm not using these close quarters. If I can, I'll use it against enemies from afar. But anywho, what were we mentioning? We were mentioning the Jabberwock staff. We were mentioning. Oh yeah, I don't remember indie games being such a big thing for me until I think the likes of Limbo. Let's just keep moving forward.
Limbo or
Braid, that was a big one.
Braid's the big one.
There was Limbo, Braid, Amnesia: The Dark Descent, Amnesia: The Dark Descent by Frictional. That was a big one.
And a Super Meat Boy.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
those were
Super
like
Meat
the
Boy.
those. But that was the thing. Like back in the day, you only really had like 3 to 4 big indie games that year. Now we have like 20 a year.
Yeah. In other
It's
words,
so
there's
easy.
too many.
Well, I say too many,
Yeah.
but I feel like there aren't enough good ones yet. Half Genie here was a really good one, I think. 'Cause
Oh,
that's
yeah.
technically indie.
Definitely.
That was a good indie game. I played Cloud Build.
Honestly,
I enjoyed.
it's kind of-
We did.
For me, it's kind of hard to... Oh boy. I was about to
Okay,
say, I'm not quite
continue.
sure if at this point we can even consider Shantae like indie, because to be fair, that series has been around since the Game Boy Color.
I know, but it was never I guess you do have a point because that was sort of published under the thing. Would Inti create? Nuts! That person took the. So that kid. Oh, hello there.
Hi, buddy.
So we need to get that kid because
Ugh.
that kid standing on a. We need to get that kid back because that kid standing on the switch is what controls. Please give me some health meta essence, thank you. That kid is what opens the doorway to the next area of Queen of Heartsland. So I need to freaking find him, which means we gotta go back this way. Huh? What do you think was the first indie game you guys played?
What'd you say, Logan?
What was that, Logan?
What was the first indie game you ever played? Like legit, like I remember. I think Limbo was the first big one I played.
Probably either Braid or Super Meat Boy. Whichever one came first.
I remember that trend.
Maybe there's
Super
another
hard
one
platformers.
maybe there's another one I might have played, but I don't immediately remember.
How about you, Jordy and Hype?
Good question. I'm trying to remember what the very first indie game I actually saw. I mean,
Or played.
for some odd reason, the only one that can come out from the top of my head that I've seen first, the most, was Undertale.
Oh, God.
Okay,
That's fair.
That's fair.
That was only like a few years ago.
I know, but
that's
like,
very
Well,
recent.
to be fair, that is...
what'd you say, Steve?
He was about to say, to be fair. Go ahead, Hype.
No, I was about to say, like, we remark about that, but I guess that is still technically an indie title. And as far as mine goes, I wanna ask for the sake of a reminder: is Braid that one game where you play as the short guy and
Back.
you can rewind and fast forward your moves?
Yes.
Well, sometimes control
Then it
area
might
movement,
be
sometimes
Braid.
it's other. Okay, then it could be. Also, I'm speeding this up because this is just me traipsing right back the way I came by guiding this kid back to the Switch.
I know Braid's the big one I can remember because that was like way back when the
There we
Xbox Live Arcade was still like a really big thing.
Get on the Switch.
And
Thank you.
like that's like the one.
Get on the Switch, you and your
that's
Bane
like the-
mask.
Heh. That's like the one. That's like the one major format that most people remember. Like the indie scene really exploded from. It was from the Xbox Live Arcade, and I mean, yeah, you got Braid, Super Meat Boy. a couple of other games, like from say Twisted Pixel, like say The Ball or Explosion Man. Just
Yeah,
it had a lot, and you know what? It got so bad to the point where Xbox, like Microsoft, launched this side thing called the Xbox Indie Scene, which was kind of like the prototype to like where the smaller indie stuff could be in. And I remember like a whole bunch of games on there, like I can't remember them all by name, but there was like some smaller ones that were either okay or a piece of trash. But then you got some really interesting gems, like say the Tempora of the Dead, which I'm surprised that never got a re-release as of today.
I don't think I've ever tried that. I remember playing this one thing called like something Space Giraffe. It was like some sort of Sim City but in space kind of thing.
All you need to know about with the Tempora of the Dead is that you're literally preparing tempura out of zombie heads as either a samurai or not Obama.
Also, as you've noted,
speaking of which, of all things, not Obama or whatever the character's name was, is appearing in that upcoming puzzle game that Nicholas is making, Crystal Crisis, which makes me really want to see the Tempora of the Dead on the Switch now.
Also, as you've noticed, this part of the level is a little bit tricky because the texture for the bridge platform doesn't load all the time, so it's hard for me to tell whether or not it actually is there. Okay, Boojum, I need you to get up here so I can kill you. I don't want to be dealing with you pushing me off
I think
the
that's the reason why he's not cooperating. He doesn't want you to kill him.
There. Frickin' go. Phew.
Actually, looking back, because I was looking at the list of games, I actually realized it wasn't Undertale that was my first exposure to indie games. I think it was actually Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay. That was another big one, I remember.
Yeah. But other than that, I'm not quite sure what I've seen beforehand. But I think it was around that time
Automaton.
when it came out that I first, was exposed to the idea of indie games and stuff like that.
Portal.
Oh,
you're right, Portal.
Wait, is that really considered indie? I thought Valve did it.
Yes, that is considered indie.
Okay, then yeah, I guess Portal was definitely my first big one then.
Then yeah, change my vote to Portal.
Yeah, okay, then maybe it was Portal.
Okay, yeah, then definitely Portal for me. But yeah, I mean, I will say I am glad that the whole scene of indie games has become a lot more readily accessible, because I think there are people with great game ideas out there that don't get the same that probably didn't get the same like ease of access into the industry that they did back.
And you want to know what's the fun part? Most of those most indie games that are really big now, you could literally play on the go now thanks to the Switch.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Honestly, say what you will about the console, it's essentially it's pretty much its subtitle may as well be the indie machine.
What? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they have their flat out Indies Direct, but now that should be something we should talk about though. Is that I do believe also yes, we've almost made it through this area. Yeah, this is basically the end game. This is the final home stretch. Even though we still have another 2 parts, take that for what you will. This is going to be some brutal stuff ahead. Moving on.
Okay.
As with any platform, okay, back to the Hedge Maze. As with any platform, though, I think there has to be some sort of quality control, because there are definitely people, not all of them, but I know there are definitely people who will just, oh, hello there. There are people who will just, oh, and freaking hello there, Mr. Wraith.
Oh.
There are people, or Banshee, whatever the heck
No,
they're called.
it's a Wraith. I know it is.
Okay. There are people out there who will not put the effort or the time in, and they'll just flood, like look at the Steam library sometime.
Yeah.
Just all the Steam is kind of, without quality control, places can just get oversaturated and flooded with bad content, so you never even really can tell what the good stuff is.
Yeah, I mean, to the Nintendo eShop's credit, though, its UI is far more user-friendly than freaking Steam. Steam's kind of a mess now.
Fair.
Yeah, it
fair.
kind of is.
And, I mean, the only thing the eShop's kind of missing right now is that it kind of needs to start implementing, like, a list the games in alphabetical order kind of tab. But otherwise, so far, I think they're doing okay for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's just only a matter of time. But otherwise, I still think it's far easier to find games on there than any other console, with how fucking bloated they make their tabs and everything.
Right.
It's just becomes more distracting than helpful.
Well, because they micromanage so much crap. It's like, oh, well, there's this genre, hot topic of the day, and most popular. There's so many things
real
like.
Quick,
yes.
I was just about to say, that reminds me of a point I wanted to make about indie games, that maybe I'm just reading too deeply into it, but it really does feel that way. it kind of feels like it's gone to a point where people kind of prioritize indie over any other kind of company. Like, a joke I usually like to make is that, like, if you see, like, a AAA developer, or, like, say, Insomniac or Naughty Dog, if they try to make a game with, like, what's supposed to be a very thought-provoking message, people will just think that it's kind of annoying and pretentious. But if an indie game decides to tell the exact same moral, they're like, oh man, this really makes you think. This is amazing.
I think it's kind of. I think with AAA developers, it's more of a case of people just assume it's like a been there, done that sort of schema.
I mean, I guess I can definitely see where if they're AAA, people think that by default they're a bit more manipulative about it. Like they'll think like, oh, they okay, so this took me forever to figure out where this is, and that's what made this annoying. Is that I actually have to go back the way I came, jump down, and that'll take me to that particular pipe and not any other pipe in this area.
Oh, yay.
So yeah, that took me a little bit to figure out. So we go back the way we came about 15 minutes later, swim down here, kill that freaking fish thingy, and not through there, and there we go. Moving on. I definitely feel like people can look at AAA corporations and stuff. Oh, by the way, do remember you still need air, so make sure to top off any bubble vents you find. I could see where people would be a bit more cynical about it because it can seem more like an indie developer doing something. You can just think like, oh, they are trying to bring forth a message. They do want to say something. If a corporation or a AAA company tries to do it, it seems more like they're caring less about the message and more about the response, the reaction you get from it, and that response and reaction being
I'm just saying,
you
indie
want
games
to buy
can be
it.
just as manipulative.
They can be. It
Really varies depending on who's doing it.
Yeah, I agree. There was this I don't know if I would call it being pretentious, but there was this interesting game that I saw Vinesauce stream the other day called The Beginner's Guide, which it was made and created by the guy who did. He's the guy who made the Stanley Parable.
Oh, cool.
And in particular, it actually... Okay, I guess I'll just spoil it right to it because we got a bit way ahead of us. So it was talking about how he had this friend he met online who would make games and just like the guy just made fun little like stupid little mods like menus and maps with no real purpose, no real angle, but he just wanted to do something with it. And the guy, the creator of the Stanley Parable, kept trying to goad him on, like, no, dude, you should do something with this. You should continue making more of this. Keep doing this up, man. Keep up with this. This is cool. Like, you should share this with people. And the original person kind of was just making it for himself. Like, he didn't really want to share his stuff with anybody. He wanted to just make it for himself, like his own little form of therapy or whatever. Like, he just liked being creative. And basically, then at one point, the guy who created Stanley Parable, he went out of his way to share those games that the friend had made with other people. Of course, he gave the guy credit, but he was just like just sharing privately.
Ow.
Like he was like, "No, dude, look at the." He would show. Okay, let's freaking. I'll kill those. Oh god, freaking fish!
Oh god.
Oh goodness, that was
that
something
thing.
else.
Yeah, just imagine that if this was lava though. That's how annoying they are. Okay, let's just kill these guys in the water.
Ooh.
One knife there is all it takes. I still love the music of this game. But anyway,
That's nice music.
I mean, I usually like the music of most games I play. Maybe that's why I enjoy playing them. I like the atmosphere they make.
That's true.
Anyway,
That's also something I think I'll give the video game industry a lot of credit for. They're really stepping up their game when it comes to music.
yeah.
Yeah,
Honest,
that is true.
And that's honestly why. Okay, sorry, I'm getting off topic. Real quick, if you ever are doing work, like homework or any other editing work, like me or something like that, like I recommend listening to video game soundtracks. Like, you don't have to say that your favorite music is video game music. I have a lot of bands I still enjoy listening to and stuff like that, but video game music is genuinely okay. These are weighted levers that when I open them, flood the waters, and when the waters are flooded, you see that little ball thing up there?
I think so.
Think of it like the little floater thingy in your toilet's the tank itself, where like when the water reaches it, it'll lift it up like a buoy, and then I'll be able to open and go down into some of the pipelines like this one.
Interesting.
Anyway, moving on. So, I feel like you should listen
Actually,
to video game music.
Before you continue, I was going to say, before you continue, I did want to go back on a statement you mentioned about how, like, saying video game music is your favorite genre of music. I'm not quite sure if that's really accurate, because to be fair, video game soundtracks can vary in and of themselves. It's kind of like animation in the sense of, like, it's an art form that can do several genres.
That is true. There are some, like, this game very much has more surreal, creepy music. Mario has lately been delving into big band and stuff, which is cool if you like.
And as of recently, got a remix from the good old MGS sound designer himself.
Right. So yeah, so that is fair. Okay, but I should say, don't. I would say it's not anything to be ashamed of to say that you very much enjoy listening to music that came from a video game, because some video game,
of course,
listen to the freaking song that played during the credits of Symphony of the Night, and then play it for someone, but don't tell them it was the credits song to Symphony of the Night, and they will believe you.
Yeah.
They'll not believe
they'll
that
think
freaking
they'll think it
ballad.
was a scrap credits theme for Titanic.
They'll think you, yeah. I was actually about to say they'll think it was some unreleased Celine Dion single. Nope. Symphony of the Night. Moving on. But yeah, listening to video game music is perfect for stuff like this, because you have to remember, video game music by itself needs to be designed so that you could listen to it while still focusing and performing other tasks. Like, doing this would not be as fun if the music kept constantly distracting me with, like, lyrics or things like that.
Unless the level's purpose was involving the music distracting you.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it is meant to be stuff heard in the background, which is why it's great to do work with this stuff in the background. Moving on. Back to the beginner's guide. Person from Stanley's Parable shared the game with people, and the creator of all those games just stopped talking to them because the guy felt, rightfully so, and the guy who made Stanley Parable agrees, he crossed a line he shouldn't have. This guy was clearly making this stuff for himself privately, and there went the Stanley Parable guy thinking that he was doing something good, thinking he was helping him, when he really should have just left well enough alone and respected his friend's wishes. And he made this whole game thing talking about it. It's interesting, but if you're not there, it can be seen as pretentious. I'm probably ahead of myself here. Anyway, let's get down here. Go back up. Where is that pipe? Here it is.
There's the pipe.
All right, there is the exit out of here. Jeez.
Oh,
So
man.
with that said, join us as we shall be leaving Heartsland very soon, and we'll be entering one of the final areas of the game. Till then.
Till next time, everybody.
Boy, boy.
Bye.